So far we've managed to create the basic structure for our framework. So if we click on, let's say, take our server, you can see we create the p parameter in the URL and we pass the value of submission underscore form to it. And obviously, because of this, we can populate content from a database and display the submission form on our page. If we click also on submissions, obviously this changes and the value of the parameter changes as well. Now, what happens if we pass the value which does not exist in the database, submissions with 2s, let's say? Well, we get a blank page. So obviously we need to find a solution to it. If we go to our database, as you can see, all these values of the parameters, if we go to the pages and browse, you can see are simply our identities. If page doesn't exist, we get this blank page. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at the modules page, table. You can see, as I've mentioned earlier, modules table will contain the name of the file and its ID. At the moment, the table is empty. So we're going to insert one record. The first record will be called error.php. So the first file name will be error.php. And if we click on go or hit enter, this will add the new record. And now we need to go back to our editor, open inc folder and functions.php. If we scroll down to our function called render, now what we need to do is, after our if statement, we need to type else, which means if we haven't found any page, then echo get mode, and the ID of our error mode is 1. If we just have a look at the record again, as you can see, ID assigned to error page is 1. So if we go back, now obviously we haven't got this get mode function yet. So let's copy the name of this function, scroll down, and after the last function, which is fetch page, let's type get content of the module. And we're going to create a new function, get mode, and we are going to pass the ID of the module and the content, which by default will be null. Two curly braces, and inside of the function, first of all, what we're going to do is we globalize the p parameter, p variable, also globalize s variable, and global required. Required variable is actually an array which we'll create later on, but let's globalize it now so that we won't have to remember about this later on. Now, next thing is module variable, to which we assign a function called fetch module file, and we pass the ID of this module. Oh, sorry, we don't need these curly braces here. Okay, and then we do module path equals, as you remember, we've created the constant called mod dir dot ds dot module. What it basically does, it takes the name of the directory separator, and the name of the file, which fetch module file function will populate for us, and assigns this to the module path variable. So now, if is file, and now we take the variable name module path, then what we want to do, ob start, which is starting the output buffering, then require once, and we need to include our module file, return ob get clean, which means get the content and clean the ob output buffering. So this is everything we need to do in get mode function. Now obviously we need to create another function which is called fetch module file, and this is what we're going to do next. So fetch the name of the module, so function get module file, and we pass the module ID as a parameter. And we start with if is an empty ID, which has been sent as parameter. Then we create a SQL statement, which starts with select file from modules where ID equals, we close here and then we continue SQL. Again, we have to clean our value, which is SQL escape and ID. Then again, continuation. And we're going to limit this just to one record. Now, row variable equals fetch one SQL. After this if statement, we simply return our row if it's obviously set. So if it's set, row, basically rather than if it's set, let's check if it isn't empty. Let's do row file, which is the name of the file, otherwise return null. So here we are, we've got the name of the file assigned to the module variable. We pass it then to the path. If it's existing, the file has been found, then require it, process it, and return the result. Okay, so now that we have this function, next thing we need to do, we need to create our error page. So let's go to the mode folder and create a new file called error.php. Inside of this file, open PHP tag, and first require once, we need to require our header, which is tmp header.php. We select it, copy underneath, and just replace header with footer. Now, in between both of these, let's echo our message, which will be in between the h1 tags, page not found, an exclamation mark, then paragraph, the page you are trying to view does not exist or has been moved. Full stop and closing paragraph. Okay, if we save this, if we go back to our page, refresh it, and if we just put assign some value which doesn't exist in our pages table, you can see we now see the page not found message, which is basically one of our modules called error.php. So that's about our error page. In the next video, we'll have a look at how to actually create the modules which will be included inside of the pages.